Hey everybody, it's KD here, and today I'm going to show you how to create an Active Directory lab on your personal computer using VirtualBox. Quick shout out to Josh Madakor YouTube. This is his chart that I'm borrowing to do this project. Y'all go like and subscribe to his videos. Let's get started. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to download these three programs to get started. So what we're going to do now is we're going to download a couple things to get our project started. I've already downloaded these, so I'm not going to download them again. You download the Windows host or for Windows users or Mac OS Intel host for Mac users. Please select your Windows Server 2019 download. Click on this 64-bit version and it will go into your downloads. And then here you go through these steps, confirm, click these steps, Windows 10 ISO, click confirm, then you choose your language, bing bing, whatever that is, boom boom. All right, and then once you do that, you click the 64-bit version there. So since I've already have that installed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and now go to my downloads folder and then click on VirtualBox. All right, so for me, this what shows up. It says double click this. So we're going to go ahead and bring that there. Click on that, click on install, enter your password. Okay. You see, if you watch it, it takes longer, so I'm going to look away. All right, so with the bell, we're just going to move that to the trash, save some room. All right, and we're going to go to our applications folder, and we're going to find VirtualBox. We're going to open that up. All right. Alrighty, now that we have installed it, what we're going to do is set up a new virtual machine, and we're going to call it DC. And we're following our chart here. We're going to call it DC, and then we're going to click Next, and we're going to give it about 2,000 base memory. I think I have 16 gigs in here, so I'm just going to give it 3 gigs, something around there. So that let's give it. I'm going to give it. If I have 8, I'm going to give it 2. Just to kind of give it a little bit of oomph. All right, and so we'll click next, 50 gigs, finish. All right, so I'm gonna adjust some settings here, see if there's anything else. Advanced, do bidirectional so that we can move files over from our desktop to our virtual machine. All right, and then let's go ahead and click on network. And so that when we're following our diagram here, we have our NIC for our internet, which is right here. And then we're going to make one for our internal internet. And so what we'll do is we'll click on the adapter 2, click enable network, and then click internal, and then click OK. All right, once we do that, we're going to click start. It should prompt us a window here where it should get us to choose our ISO file. So we'll click other, downloads. So we'll click on our downloads here and then click mount and retry. And you see, once you stretch it out, it gets the max size. You could click on view, scaled mode. You'll get a prompt, switch. Now we can make the screen a little bit bigger. All right, so let's get rid of this right here. Okay, so we're going to click next, install now, see if the 2 gigs processor gives us some speed here. All right, so we're going to click the evaluation desktop experience so we can actually get a GUI. Click accept, next, custom install, choose the drive that we created. So in this scene, I'm just gonna go ahead and fast forward through this, the speedy part, because it just takes a while to do. Okay, now that we've made it to this stage, we're going to go ahead and add a password. I'm going to use password one just because it's easy because it's easy to remember. Okay, one. Okay, and then we'll click finish. Oh, capital PASSWORD one. Capital PASSWORD one. Just check it to make sure. Okay, make sure to write your passwords down in a safe place. All right, so to get to our screen, we need to press Control Alt Delete. But since it's a virtual machine, if you look in the input section here, right here and click keyboard, you can click on Insert Control Alt Delete, which will bring us to our administration page. Then we click and type our password here, capital PASSWORD 1, and click Go. So that we're not really missing anything. I just click no here to kind of just keep going so that we can move on to the next step. Just wanted to speed this up for us. All right, and if the mouse is like kind of jittery like this, a great thing that we could do also is we click on devices and insert guest, right? And then you can click on this here, click on my PC or this PC, and then click here. Click on the 64-bit AMD Windows Edition. Boom. Go and click next. All right, click next. Install. Now, for my lab experience, I'm not going to reboot now. I'm just going to click on manually reboot later. Click finish. Goes out of this. Click shut down. Shut down. And if you already restarted, it's cool. It's cool. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and reopen it. Double clicking or press start. Okay. Okay. So to bring the screen back up, if you already know it, press Control Alt Delete. Enter your password. And remember, don't use password one on your own computer. That's easily guessed, okay? Okay, and the computer's loading all these windows up. I'm just going to speed through this. While this is doing this, I just want to give a big shout out to Josh Medicor. Damn, am I saying that right? But yeah, I'm going to link his channel. Basically, he's the one who started this project and gave it to us to follow. So while that's loading, yep, Josh Medicor. So y'all go out and show him some love, please. Okay, I right click this one because I know it's the internal one. And if you see 169, that's a good indicator because that's a self-assigned IP address that you get when you cannot contact the internet. So that lets me know that the first one is the one we're going to use for our internet. So we're just going to go ahead and right click that one. But here is I'm going ahead and just change the name for this to internet. So that's a good indicator that, okay, this is the NIC we use to get out to the internet. And that the Ethernet 2, we're going to rechange that name. I'm going to go ahead and make it something like Z internal internet, just so that it can be a good indicator when we're setting up our NICs and when we're connecting to it, that we'll know which NIC to connect to. All right, so go ahead and right click and press properties. And then we're going to click on Internet Protocol version 4. And we're going to go ahead and enter our IP addresses. If you look at our I entered for our IP addresses, that's the 172.16.0.1. and the subnet mask is going to be 255, 255, 255. I had a little bit of issue typing this, so, bear with me for a moment. And we're going to go ahead and leave, as you can see from our chart, the gateway is going to be empty. And then on this line, we're going to go ahead and enter our DNS server. As you can see, that's part of our scope 1, which is going to be 127. If you look at our DNS, it's 127.0.0.1. Now, I got this pop-up. I just let it go and then just click cancel, and then just kind of moved on. You know what I mean? And just closes it. All right. Now that we got that done, we're just going to close these windows here. Click Start and System. All right, and let's go ahead and change the name of our computer here. We're going to go ahead and scroll all the way down, and do you see where it says rename this PC? We're going to click that, and then we're just going to go ahead and name this one our DC for domain controller. All right, now it's going to want us to restart the computer, so we'll press restart, and I'll go ahead and speed through this, okay? Continue. Boom, and restart. I'm just going to speed through that. All right, we're just going to go ahead and press the Control-Alt-Delete button to get us to log back in. So go ahead and log back in using the password that we created, the easy one, the easy peasy one, password 1. All right, now that we're logged in, we're just going to let everything load up. All right, so the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to add the roles and the features. So we're just going to click Next, Next, and there's our domain controller that we created. So we're just going to click Next. And then we're going to click on Active Directory Domain Services. We're going to click on Active Directory Domain Services, click Add Features, and then click Next, 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 and then Install. All right, and then once it's done installing, you can press close on this tab once it's done. So we're just going to speed through this because it took mine a couple extra minutes. So I'm just going to speed through this as fast as I possibly can, and then click close. Once that's done, we're going to click on the flag at the top of the screen. And then we're going to, you see where it says promote the server to domain controller? That's what we're going to do next. And so we need to click on add a new forest. And we're going to name this my domain. Just to keep it simple, mydomain.com. Click next. All right, and then we're going to create a password. I haven't had to use this password. We're just going to keep it simple for right now. For our purposes in our lab, we're just going to make it the same password 1. Click next. All right, next. And once that's finished, we're going to install it. And click through all of these next. All right, and install. All right, we're speeding that up. All right, now the computer is going to restart. Once it restarts, as you can see, it just takes a while, so sip some coffee or something, take a break. All right, and then we'll press the Control-Alt-Delete again, log in. Now you should see my domain /administrator. So we'll go ahead and type in our password one more time. All right. Now, we're going to open up the Active Directory users and computers. I just typed in AC, and as you can see, I was able to click on it. Now we can see the domain that I created. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on New, and then we're going to create an organizational unit. Basically, it's a folder for all of our users. So I'm going to name this one admin, _admin. And I'm going to uncheck protect container from accidental deletion. It helps us, I think, delete it if we need to later on. All right, so in that admins folder, we're going to click on, right click it, and then we're going to click on new. and then we're going to create a new user. All right, and this is the user. We're basically making an administrator account for ourselves. So as you can see, I put K and I put, well, let me take my initial out of there, my middle initial, but I'll just put D as my last initial. This is just so that I could add myself as an administrator, kind of if I was like working at a company and, I wanted to add an administrator. And so this is the login username account. This is like what you use to log in. So it would be like a dash, and they use A for like administrator in some companies. So here I'm going to make our password something simple so that we could, move forward in our lab. But I am going to unselect user must change password at next login and just keep password or click password never expires just for our purposes because I don't want to have to stop and change the password during that time. So now we want to make this account an administrator account. We can double click it. And you see where it says member of, go ahead and click on the member of. Once you click on the member of, you'll see where it says add. Go ahead and add, and we're going to type there and enter the object's name to select. We're going to put domain admin and then check the name, and it should put an underline under it, and then press OK. All right, and then we're going to press OK. Cool. All right, once we've done that, we've basically created our admin user for our domain controller. So once we create our user account and press OK, the computer is going to want to restart. If it doesn't, go ahead and force restart it. Once it gets to the login screen, we'll have to press that Control-Alt-Delete. If you know how to press it, if not, press the input key. And then we're going to click Other Users and enter the admin account that we just created. For mine, it's a-yanokd with the password that we created. Once I enter that, I'm just going to speed up the screen so that we can get back to our login screen and start using this new administrator account we created. Now, once we're logged in, it takes a couple seconds. Now we're actually logged into my yanokd administrator account. We're going to go ahead and add another role and then click next, next. All right, and as you can see, we're going to add it to our domain controller. And then this is what we're going to do. We're going to choose remote access. This is basically the function that they'll allow us to connect through the network. All right, so we're going to click next. We're going to just next through this whole thing real quick. So pardon that, I actually scrolled down on that and skipped it, but just click next, click routing, and then add features, and then you'll see direct access and VPN RAS was added. So we'll click next and install. This should take a couple seconds for you, or maybe a couple minutes. I sped through this really fast, hopefully on the video, just so that we can speed this up because it does take a couple extra minutes. So just to clear up some confusion on this next step, we're going to click on routing and remote access. We're going to right click DC and local and configure. We're going to click next, network address translation NAT, and then click next. If you do that and you click next and you don't have any network interfaces, we're just going to cancel that and then redo the steps, okay? So that's what we're going to do now. Alright, so we're just going to cancel this and close this window out. Just do it one more time. Be a little bit easier. So go ahead and click Tools, Routing and Remote Access. We're going to right-click the DC and Configure and enable routing and remote access. Click Next. Click on Network Address Translation to allow internet clients to connect to the internet. We're going to click on Internet, the one that we created for Internet, and then click Next. Alright, and then click Finish. Alright, while that's doing that, it's going to go through a couple other processes, so we'll let it do its thing. Cool, now we have a green there. Great. So let's just go ahead and close this window here, and we'll go ahead and move to the next step by creating a new role for our DHCP. So go ahead and click out of here. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and click on Add New Roles. Alright, and with this new role, we're just going to click Next. This is going to be a role based, so we're going to click Next. And you see DC in our domain, it's going to work with that, so we're just click Next. Alright, and then we're going to look for DHCP, and we're going to click DHCP. Nice. And then add this feature to it. All right, and then click next, 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 and install and let it do it. All right, so this DHCP role is going to help our Windows 10 client get onto the internet. All right, and now we're going to give our DHCP some roles. So we'll go ahead and click on Tools, DHCP, and it should be up in just a second. We'll move this out of the way. Okay, there it is. All right. I'm going to stretch this out so we can see it. Go ahead and click on that arrow. And as you see, once we click on the arrow, you'll see the IP4 and the IPv6. And so what I might click on domain and then click back on there, and then boom, right click it, and then we're going to do new scope. We're going to click next. We're going to name this the ranges that we have on our chart. So if you have a screenshot at the chart, you'll see that we're going to do 172.16.0.1, 100 to 200. That's going to be the name of this. All right, click next, and our starting IP address is going to be the one that you put here. I'll go ahead and put that here, 172.16.0.100, and the end IP address range is the same, 172.16.0.200. The length should be at 24, and then the subnet mask is going to be 255.255.255.0. Then we're going to go ahead and click next. All right, and then here, add exclusion. We're just going to skip that, click next. Now, lease duration is basically how long an IP address is kept to a specific computer. So let's say if you're at a coffee shop or something, they usually lease those addresses probably like a day, right? 2 days. Just depends. All right, and then we're going to click yes. I want to configure these options now, and click next. All right, and we're going to go ahead and add our IP address that we set up for our default gateway for our router. Basically, it's going to be 172.16.0.1, and please make sure to press the add button in this section. Okay, this will add that to our list. If you do not add it, the internet won't work on our other machine, and we'll have to come back and redo it. Okay. All right, and then click next. The domain and DNS server, we're just going to leave everything the same. Click next. And then for the Win server, we're not going to change anything here. We're just going to click next. All right, and then we'll click next. Yes, I want to activate the scope now. Click next and click finish. All right, and so now we're going to basically authorize our servers so that they'll work. As you can see, they have the red arrow pointing down. So we're going to click authorize, and then we're going to refresh it by clicking right click and then refresh, and we're green and good to go. All right, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our next step. We're going to go ahead and check and look at this feature here. If we kind of open up this window a little bit, you'll see where it says address leases. When we come back, we'll actually see the Windows 10 lease address there once we add it, okay? All right, so we're just going to minimize this real quick. All right, minimize this. Oops. And then let's go ahead and click on configure this local server. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is that once we do create the Windows 10 machine and we try to browse the internet, it's going to give us these weird pop-ups. So I click on the enhanced security configuration, and I just turn these off. Normally you wouldn't do this, but I'm just doing this so that in the lab settings that we just don't get a pop-up every time we try to browse the internet. All right, so I pasted the link in the description for our master list and the code that was written. Shout out to Josh for writing this code and generating the list of names for us to play with today. So what I did was I downloaded it. Just for a second here, if I could just pause this. But yeah, so basically I did the copy and paste. That's why I turned that on. And then I downloaded it, and then I unzipped it, and then I just dragged it to the desktop. So just to make it easier for us to find and use later on, okay? All right, so once we've done that, we're gonna go ahead and minimize all these windows so that we can work. All right, now that we got that downloaded, I'm just going to double click on the folder. And as you can see, if we click on names, this is basically 1,000 names that are from a name generator. And so as you can see, I'm just putting, yeah, I know Katie. Now you can say you know Katie, but we're going to put, yeah, I know Katie here just to kind of add ourselves on that list. A, a name to that list. All right, and then we're going to just go ahead and click File, Save, and then close this particular window. Close this file so that we can, boom, use that. All right, now once we close these windows, we'll click on Start, PowerShell, Windows PowerShell ICE, right-click that, More, and then Run as Administrator. Now, and click Yes. All right, and so now when this window shows up, there we go. All right, and then we're going to open the script that's in that folder. So go ahead and click that, Desktop, 80, you got it, and then click Open. Boom. Click Open again, and then click on the Create Users. Go ahead and click on that, and then click Open. Nice. So once we click that open, you can see the actual code here. I'm not going to go over it, but I will say that Josh went over this really well because he created this code. So if you make sure you go watch his video, because he hits it like deeper than what I'm hitting it. I'm just hitting its surface level, right? So basically just a super quick rundown. Basically, this is just going to fill out the information for us using this code. Now, as you can see, I tried to run this without adjusting any settings. So here I'm going to type set dash execution policy execution policy unrestricted, and then yes to all. This basically allows to run this basic program for us. So we're going to change directory by typing cd space semicolon / user / and your specific user account. I just typed mine out because it was getting a little wonky here, / desktop / and then that particular AD folder. As you can see, now we're in that particular directory. So now if we press the play button, we're gonna run this, and then we should see all the names pull up. Boom, go ahead and press run. All right. And see, as you can see, the Y one I created and the 1,000 other names. So this is gonna take a couple minutes, so we'll go ahead and let that do its thing. Okay, while that's doing its thing, let's go ahead and click on Start, Windows Admin Tools, and then we're going to click on Active Directory Users and Computers, and we're going to basically check out and see if our users are adding properly. So go ahead and click on My Domain, hit that, and then click on Users at the bottom, or excuse me, click on Users, and as you can see, it's added all of our users. Nito Torpedo. All right, so that's going to be a couple more seconds while it's adding the finishing touches. We'll just check back on it in a minute, because you know what they say, if you watch it, it takes longer, so we'll let that do its thing. All right, we're just going to refresh this just to see if it's added them all yet. All right, and I'm just going to do a quick search. Let's see if I can find the one I created. So K, okay, it brought us to the K, so let me just delete that, put KD. Okay, there was a K de Stefano on there, okay. Just delete that, yep. And then what we're gonna do is type in Y, okay, I don't see my yeah, I know KD. Let's just type yeah, I know KD and see, or yeah, I know, and see if we can find it. Bam, fine. Hey, we found it. Okay, cool. So there we go. Just want to kind of search for the name. As you can see that it is working, that we were able to successfully add that user using the code. All right. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to close out of here. All right. And it should be done by now. Let's go ahead and take a look. Yep, it's done. That's a good indicator that it's done. I didn't see any error messages while it's popping, so that's good. So Josh fixed that. All right, so we're just going to refresh the list one last time and look at the chart. So basically what we've done by now, we've added our two NICs. We've done and added our domain and our domain server, our RAS and our NAS, and now it's time for and we entered our added our PowerShell users. Now it's time for us to actually make our Windows 10 client. So let's go ahead and start getting that popping real quick. So we're going to go ahead and start our Windows 10 client. So we've opened VirtualBox here, and we're going to go ahead and click on New, and then we name this one Client 1. So we're just going to type Client 1 here. and then click next. It's already Windows 10, great. It's at a base, I think, from the last time. We're just gonna leave it there, or add maybe just a couple more megabytes to it. What are we going to do? 3, 4? So we're going to give this one 4 gigs. Hopefully this helps it move a little quicker during our process. Later to come to find out it does not. So now we're just going to adjust some settings here. We're going to turn on the bidirectional just so that, you know, if we need to, we can copy and paste or move things around the desktops, our virtual desktops. All right, and so I'm just skipping through here, processor. We're going to give this one 2 processes also, just to see if it'll, you know, help this thing move along a little bit faster. And so, all right, we're going to go ahead and add our secondary NAT controller, our internal network controller here. So we're going to go click that, and then click OK for our intranet. Click OK. All right, now that we've clicked it, we're going to double click on client 1, and we're going to start the process of adding, or we're going to press start and add our Windows 10. As you can see, it's saying, hey, we need you know, some software. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and click the drop down, click other, and then click downloads, or wherever yours is at, and then you'll see Windows 10. Go ahead and click open, and it should get the ball rolling once we click mount and retry. All right. Now I tried to stretch this window out, so I just had to, let's see if it'll, let me try scaling it real quick. Scaled mode. Okay, good. It looks like scaling is working on this one. All right, so this is going to take a couple extra minutes, so I'll skim through it. Here we go. All right, so just like the Windows 19, we're going to click next, install. Right, I've just stretched this out so I can see it. I got my old man. Look, I got my old man eyes. All right, and setup is starting. So click I don't have a product key. All right, click on 10 Pro, please, and then click next, just so we can have the network services. All right, and then click agree to the terms and conditions. Next, custom install Windows only, and just, yeah, I've just made sure that was selected and click next. And then here, this should take a couple minutes. I'll go ahead and try to speed through this. Boom, boom, bing, bing, bang, bang. Here we go. All right, while the Windows 10 is getting ready, I pulled up our domain controller window on the left just so that we can kind of see what's going on with that machine also. So we have basically our, on the left, our server, our domain controller, and on the right, we're installing Windows 10. Now, this one may take a couple extra minutes, but when it does get there, we'll kind of, okay. And so this one I just set up for personal use, just for the lab. Yeah, so I really, it didn't really, I was still able to do what I want. So I'm just going to do an offline account so I don't have to sign up for Microsoft at the moment. And then limited experience. Once we click on limited experience, all right, just go ahead and type in here user. Just for our purposes, click next, and then we're going to click next again because we're not going to add a password, and just click this. All right, I'm going to turn all of these off. Bang, boom, bing, bang, bang, bang. Okay, and then click accept. All right, cool. All right, now this may take a couple extra minutes, but what we're doing now, just click skip. We'll skip this. All right. All right, now, not now. All right, cool. So it's setting this up. It takes a couple seconds, just like we did the previous sessions. If you notice, it did take me a while to do this because the installing takes forever, I promise you. And so I have to work and then come back and jump on my project. But anyway. All right, now what we're going to do now is that we have our Windows 10 machine up is we're going to check the internet by opening up the command prompt window by typing CMD. Pardon, I was typing real crazy right here. So CMD, and I'm going to use ipconfig to see if we can see our remote, our default gateway. So ipconfig here, and then as you can see, success, our default gateway is 172. We're just going to ping Google just to make sure that we can touch the internet, and it does look like the TTL, the time to live, is okay, good. So it's sending bytes over. Great. Now let's go ahead and ping my domain.com and see if we get any responses from that. And also, if you do a ping command like that, pressing escape stops it. So that's what I pressed. after a couple. Boom. So I pressed escape and there we go. All right. So now that we are on the internet, let's go ahead and go to start menu, system, and change the name of the computer. So instead of rename PC, we're going to scroll to the bottom and then we're going to do the advanced one by renaming this PC advanced. And instead of putting computer in the description, we're just going to click on change. And once we do that, it should give us the actual computer name there. And we did decide that we're going to name this computer Client 1 so that when we do add it to the domain that we'll be able to see it. So go ahead and press domain and then mydomain.com. All right, so, and we're able to add the domain here also, so press OK. Now, it's going to ask us to log in using our credentials. I'm going to use, for this instance, the administrator privileges that I set up for myself. So you'll see that I'll put here a-yanukd plus our password. All right, and then we'll press OK. And it may want to restart the computer, so press OK. Yep, password 1. Boom, bing, bing, bong. Press OK. All right. OK. Yep. We're just going to say yes, just for right now. All right. Click OK on the domain, please. All right, click OK. It's kind of run a little. I'm surprised like it's running like that. Okay, so we're going to press. It's going to automatically restart like we said. And I think I pressed close here, but it started to restart now. All right, so let this restart. All right, so I'm going to skip the restarting on this one, and what we're going to do is we're going to jump on our domain controller, and then we're going to click on the Start menu and Server Manager. This is if you accidentally close the window like I did to bring up our DHCP server. So you click on Tools and then DHCP. Awesome, and you can see that our client has been added, and so what we're going to do now is we're going to log in to our Windows 10 system with one of our username and passwords that we created. All right, so I've chosen A Love off the list there, and then I'm just going to use our password, that we put in our code, password 1. And so, boom, and let's check it out. Now this is going to basically take a couple seconds because it's like setting up like a new user. So imagine, you're in a corporate network, a corporate environment, and you go to log into another, they have like all these seats and you go to log in into another one, and there you go. Well, once again, I appreciate you guys for following along in this particular project. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section and I'll try to get back to you. I'm just going to press the command button here, type who am I, and it should show us we're part of the my domain, and A-Love is our person that we signed in with. Alrighty, there we go. Have the best day ever. Take care.